Since 1980, Mr. Kerckhove has been working with China. He has served as a foreign consultant to the Committee for Beijing's 12th Five-Year Plan and as an economic advisor for the Beijing Olympic Games. He has also received numerous accolades from the Chinese government, including the prestigious Friendship Award. So these are beautiful pictures of history, important occasions.
Yes. Actually, I need one more wall. Because not
too many of them.
There are too many.
You were this one of the leading.
The only foreigner.
The only foreigner.
Only foreigner in the preparation committee of the 12th Five-Year Plan, and the only country that has a five-year plan looking ahead is basically China. Who makes the five-year plan? The bureaucrats. The administration, the specialists, coming from what we call now the China Development and Reform Commission, right?
Right.
So I have big respect for these people because they all are very specialists. They do their work together, try to come up with a real good study to orient the country towards a certain goal and over time. So when I'm in my book, I said in 2012, electric cars in China will become big. And everybody was telling me, oh, Gilbert, what are you talking about? Nonsense, they never can do it. Now you look at the figures today.
13 years ago.
Yes.
You were predicting
the
rise of the
EVs.
EVs.
Was actually, that time they just started to talk about it. They said, oh, we will try to make a production of 1 million, new energy vehicles. But everybody said, this nonsense. Or the Chinese, I say, well, you look.
But Gilbert, I have a question. You talked about like China basically being the only country doing five-year plans. But in a sense, every government, they do plans, right? You have to plan, okay, we are going to have an Olympic Games, so you plan ahead. What's the difference?
Because only China plans ahead. You think in Belgium they plan ahead? If they plan ahead 3 months in advance, it's already not bad,
Oh, right.
No, it's like a sad joke. You can look Europe, how do they plan? They fail to plan. This is why their economy, their infrastructure is in the end is running behind. Where do we have the best infrastructure in terms of transport? Today is in China. You look Beijing, I think they are now close to having 1,000 kilometers of subways. And then you have the high-speed trains.
Very convenient everywhere you go.
Very convenient, So this is actually part of a major plan. And then you go to America, high-speed rail. Oh, come on, let's have, it's a joke.
It has been for many, many years, but
maybe they have one or two railway lines that are a little bit okay in the US. But if you say, for example, you want to go from LA to San Francisco, they have been talking about building a railway for years. Nothing done.
Right.
So this is the difference. Many countries fail to really sit down and in a logical way prepare for the future. I don't say that China is always right 100%.
No.
But anyway, you see the result today. We cannot complain too much, right?
Right. Very little to complain about. But then, people would criticize China for, you have a planned economy. It's not based on, completely based on market. At least in the past, they would talk about that. They say, planning or planned economy in a very bad sense. Negative sense.
Yes, planned economy, I would not criticize it that way. It is planned, but I think there is a need to plan ahead. There is a certain market economy. Yes, there are bad sides of it. You look at the competition within China between Chinese enterprises, they are killing each other. So there is a market economy. There is competition, and as you see, sometimes there's even too much competition within China. Like you see the electric vehicles, there are too many manufacturers, like more than 100 now. It's a little bit of a bloodbath because the big ones are trying to kill the small ones. So this is market economy. It's not planned. Okay, the government helps a little bit, yes, but at the end of the day, it's really a competition, and the good ones will win, and the strong ones will survive.
because of this tension, Washington has this strategy against China. People call it keeping China down. Of course, part of the job is really to badmouthing China or give China a negative image.
We are facing indeed very big issues, but be aware you're not the only one to face the issues. As Europeans, we also face similar issues with the US, not even to talk about Canada and Mexico and Panama, Panama, the situation politically, internationally is very disturbing. I must say personally, I was always very much in favor of open markets. Today, everybody's closing markets. So how far this is going to go, we don't know. I think the only way that China has to get out and improve the situation is just developing their own technologies. A very good example has been DeepSeek, but also we see many other areas where China is making a tremendous progress. I visited Shandong several times, and I was very lucky to be toured around in many offices and factories in Shandong, where I discovered the very advanced situation of the medical industry in that province. So there are areas where there can be much more cooperation. It's obvious that today the type of foreign direct investment coming to China is different and has to be different because China has changed. The market has matured. So China doesn't need the basic stuff anymore because they are too advanced. So people who come here to invest, they have to really do their homework very well, study the market, and look at areas where they can work together in a very advanced technologies, which is then in favor both of the Chinese side, but also for the foreign side, working together.
How do you look at the economy, overall economy? We know China is leading in, say, renewable energies, like, this wind power, yes, solar power, of yes, course, EVs, etc., batteries, but overall economy, what's your prediction for the next 5 years or, near future?
I don't have a crystal ball. Mm-hmm. I have a crystal ball, but it doesn't work very well.
We can still say that.
Yeah, no, I think today it's very dangerous to make predictions because we have the Trump factor that is making chaos all over the world. So even if we have the best intentions, we have to face the reality that we have a crazy guy sitting in the White House and
you never know what he's going to do.
Exactly. So people are worried that China is facing stagflation with higher inflation and also unemployment issues, with the demography not being good because we have less workers, because less kids, whatever, These are issues that China will have to face one way or the other. Is the economy going to collapse, as many people predict in the West? I would say surely not. Because then, the China Development and Reform Commission will come out with a new 5-year plan, and they will deal with it one way or the other and make sure that this is not going to happen. But sure, the economy is facing very big challenges because exports are being cut down by all the customs regulations that we see coming everywhere in the West. This is not going to help. The only way, again, is that China produces high technology items, and this will be much more easier to deal with. So China will really have to pay very careful attention because of all the constraints we see in international trade today. It's very difficult. I think there is no magic stick we can see. But I again repeat, when you see the success of DeepSeek, this is an excellent example. So we need more DeepSeeks in China, right?
Okay, one last thing about, if you look at the globalization, I'm thinking of Trump's tariffs. The tariffs basically on every country doing business with the US, not only Canada, Mexico, China, European countries, probably other countries too. obviously it's a negative thing. I mean, to what degree globalization probably is retreating?
Yes, globalization unfortunately is retreating. I was always very much in favor of globalization in the sense that if a country can do something very well, why not do in that country, and another country does other things else. And so we exchange our expertise and we exchange our products where they are made under the best conditions and at the best price. This is now being demolished, you know, by all this Trump tariffs, and I think it's counterproductive. Trump thinks that this is a magic wand that he's using, but I think it's going to turn against him sooner or later, because inflation is going to go up. People are going to have to pay much more for things that they want to buy. So inflation is going to go up, and many factories will also suffer because the spare parts they need, for example, in the automobile industry in America, many of the spare parts is coming from other countries, from Canada, from Mexico, from China, from other countries. And if those tariffs go up, and then the cars will also become more expensive, what do you want to do? And then, Trump says, yeah, China will pay. You know, it's not that China pays, it's the customer in America that will pay. You know, this apparently he doesn't understand. So this tariff war is very destructive and has no meaning. And I hope common sense will come back after a certain time.
Yeah, China's high-tech sector, you mentioned the DeepSeek for a couple of times there. Are you confident there will be more, you know, probably progress or breakthroughs made similar to DeepSeek?
Well, you see already telecom. I'm also a telecom guy. I've done a lot of telecommunication in my life. Where in the world can you find such an advanced environment in terms of telecommunications? Here in my office, I have 3 separate fiber optic cables.
Oh, wow.
So my internet is super fast. I'm very happy with it. Everybody is using high-tech equipment, mobiles. Okay, I'm using an Apple phone. You could say it's not Chinese, but it's made in China anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of telecommunications, we are already very, very privileged here. Yesterday I was talking with my IT guy who is helping me for my website, and he was calling me from France. And he was said, "Yo, Gilbert, you know, I have a big problem here because the Wi-Fi is so poor, the network is so poor. We all have 5G here. Many places you go in the world, you have 4G or even worse." And you mentioned renewables. I mean, I've been working in wind turbines. I was very impressed. You look at solar energy, it's also very advanced. I helped actually bring into China solar energy, the special solar energy, not with solar cells, but with heat. I brought in the people from Israel who are really the people who came up with those mirrors that shine onto a central tower that eats up a salt column, you know, to heat up and to produce electricity. So all this now is already being done in China. You see the solar locations. We are not even talking anymore in megawatts. We are talking in gigawatts that they are producing. So I think there China also has been pretty okay. They had some quality issues in the past, but I think now in terms of quality, China is doing very well. And they are crushing all the industries around the world.
Very competitive, I'd say.
Very competitive, yes.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you for speaking.
Welcome, welcome, sir. Yes.